floorboard creaked. I froze at my dad's study door, hand raised, when Richard's voice cut clean. "Your sister gets nothing. She's out." He meant me. Bella didn't protest. Caroline, my stepmother, hummed, pleased. That hum hurt more than a slap. Do you know the moment your heart stops belonging? It doesn't shatter, it goes numb, like you've turned ghost in your life. I stepped back, unseen, and something inside whispered, "Run or fight. What would you do if your family erased you between sips of tea?" Because I heard them plan my disappearance like a budget line. "She's a problem. Remove her." If this makes you angry today, tell me what you'd do in the comments. Like, share. Don't let silence win. The floor did that tiny traitor creak, and I froze. Hand in midair, breath suspended. Then Richard's voice sliced the room like a paper cut you don't see until it stings. "Your sister gets nothing. She's out." He meant me. Bella didn't say a word, and Caroline, my stepmother, hummed. Not a tune, a verdict. That hum hurt worse than a slap. Do you know the exact second your heart stops belonging to your family? It doesn't explode. It numbs out like someone turned the volume down on your life and left the pain on max. I backed away from the door before they saw me, pulse roaring in my ears. "She's a problem. Remove her," Richard added, calm as an accountant deleting a row. I didn't cry. Shock is a quiet teacher. I went upstairs on autopilot, sat on the guest bed where they keep the good pillows for everyone but me, and opened my laptop. If you've ever had your name erased in a whisper, you know, your fingers move faster than your fear. I ran the plan I'd rehearsed in my head for weeks. Passwords, two-factor codes, a private account labeled with a word no one would guess. Transfer, confirm. Every cent I owned moved in minutes. The bank app popped a soft bell noise. Wild how something so gentle can feel like survival. Why did I have a plan? Because the erasing had started small, forgotten group chats, a family photo cropped at my shoulder, estate emails that stopped CCing me. Grief makes you make excuses for cruelty. I did. Until I didn't. That night, I pulled the scarf box from the dresser, slid out the taped key my grandmother Eunice had left me, and opened the old sewing desk. Inside, a sealed legal envelope, a palm-sized recorder, and a note in her steady accountant script. 4 lines. Blood doesn't make them worthy. If you're reading this, they've already turned. Take what's yours. Don't look back. Hook moment? I pressed play. Her voice, soft, steady, the sound of safety. If they try to twist this, Katie, you show them this tape. I trust you. Only you. 23 seconds that rebuilt my spine. The envelope held a notarized amendment, recent, naming me, clean, witnessed, rock solid. That's when fear shifted into focus. This wasn't about money. It was about identity, about not letting them write me out and call it peace. Morning. I walked into the kitchen like a fire alarm with legs. Bella scrolled her phone, legs crossed like she was already accepting applause. Richard buried himself in spreadsheets. Caroline stirred oatmeal and hummed that smug little soundtrack to my deletion. I set the thick manila envelope right between the croissants and the contracts. "What's this?" Bella asked, bored. Richard sighed. "We're in the middle of something. Can this wait?" I said, "No. You'll want to read this now." Caroline's spoon stopped mid-air. Her mask cracked a millimeter. I slid out the amendment, tapped the signature, and said, "Calm as weather. Signed, witnessed, dated." You remember Beverly from the garden club? She was there, so was the notary. Bella reached and I caught her wrist in mid-grab. "Don't," I said. "You already know what this is." The room hollowed. I set the recorder down, pressed play, and let my grandmother testify from the beyond. When the last "only you" faded, I put a second envelope on the marble. "Filed this morning," I said. "Emergency motion to freeze the estate until review." My phone buzzed. Text from my attorney. "Granted, if this moment makes you angry, if you've ever felt your identity redlined out of your own family's ledger, tell me in the comments what you would have done. Would you run or fight? Hit like so this story shows up for the next person who needs a backbone. Share it so no one confuses silence with consent. because here's the truth that will make some of you gasp. They didn't drop me, they tried to delete me, and I refused to disappear. Now breathe, because we're not done. The kitchen war was only the opening bell. The real shock? The trust didn't just protect me, it handed me the steering wheel to the one room they thought I'd never enter, the boardroom. I didn't wait for anyone's permission. I walked into Maddox and Langley with my grandmother's amendment in my bag and a voice in my head saying, "Stand." The receptionist did that double take people do when they've been trained to ignore you. I smiled, kept moving, pushed the boardroom doors wide. 5 senior partners paused mid-forecast, mid-ego. Richard's jaw flexed. Bella folded her arms so tight, her knuckles swallowed the color. Caroline wasn't there, different battlefield. Thomas, the old lion, squinted. "We weren't expecting you." I set a folder at the head of the table. "You are now." "As of last week," I said, "I hold controlling interest, 51%, assigned through Eunice's trust and affirmed by a notarized amendment." Shockline, let's say it out loud. The invisible daughter just became the majority owner. I sat in the chair they kept warm for men with last names that opened doors. The plaque didn't have my name yet, but the power in the room knew before the medal did. Richard stood up, too slow. "This is a stunt." "No," I said, opening the second folder. "This is succession." Here's what cowards count on: fog, confusion, paperwork no one reads. I brought a floodlight. "You'll find a preliminary forensic report, 112 pages, I said, sliding copies to each partner. Page 3, corporate funds coded as client entertainment, routed to personal Venmo payments, $80,000 over 18 months. Page 5, Blue Ridge Advisory, an LLC consultant that doesn't consult, layering distributions through padded invoices. Richard started. "You've been spying on your own family." "No," I said. "I've been protecting my grandmother's name while you burned it for warmth." Bella slammed her chair back. "You hate not being in the spotlight." I looked her dead in the eye. "You mistake silence for obedience." Thomas flipped pages, color drained from his face. "We weren't made aware of any of this." "You are now," I said. My attorney stepped in with copies, the forensic team's watermark catching the light like a stamp of truth. This is the moment people online call receipts. And if you're listening for your own life, hear me. Get the receipts. Don't argue where you can prove. The report went deeper than I wanted, but not deeper than I could handle. Shell companies tied to P.O. boxes in Florida, Delaware, Zurich. Invoices to departments that didn't exist. Equipment rentals that never arrived. And a soft-named offshore account in Caroline's orbit. A holding firm with no physical office and a hunger for everything my grandmother built. "You want a line that still bruises?" Richard leaned forward, dropped his voice, and said, "You weren't built for this." I smiled. I was raised by the woman who built this. Hook, because I need you here. If your stomach is twisting, if this feels like your story, drop a comment with a single word, enough. Hit like so, the algorithm prioritizes courage over cover-ups. Share it with the friend who keeps giving benefit of the doubt to people who only take. I issued directives with a voice I didn't know I owned. Full audit, immediate suspension of all payments to flagged vendors. Temporary internal controls routed through compliance, not family. Independent counsel retained, no one who'd ever taken a holiday basket from Richard's hunting buddies. Bella hissed, "You'll destroy us." "No," I said, "I'll disinfect us." And then, because survival isn't revenge, but it does require sunlight, I sent the entire report to legal with 3 words. Proceed fully, today. Phones buzzed, faces fell. The room that had been a fortress of familiar lies turned into a courtroom made of glass. For the first time, I saw fear on the faces that had taught me to doubt myself. Not fear of me, fear of exposure. Smooth transition? Good. Because the boardroom was just the surgery. The real operation happened where truth files its taxes, in court. Courtrooms have their own weather. The air is heavier, like every lie you breathe in has weight. I took the stand, spelled my name, swore the oath, and opened the folder I'd built like a bridge out of a burning house. No theatrics, No dragging my voice. Just dates, transfers, signatures, the soft click of evidence taking the microphone. The judge listened with that face people mistake for boredom. It's discipline. When I finished the basics, I pressed play on the recorder, and my grandmother's voice crossed the room like a hand to my shoulder. If they try to twist this, Katie, you show them this tape. I trust you, only you. The court reporter glanced up. Even the woods seemed to listen. Bella testified next. Measured, sympathetic. PR trained. We were protecting the legacy. We wanted harmony. Katie is volatile. There it was. The word they use when a woman stops swallowing. Volatile. I didn't look at her. I looked at the judge and said, when it was my turn, erasing someone isn't protection. It's cowardice dressed in silk. Richard tried gravitas. Caroline tried porcelain dignity. The facts didn't care. They just sat there, heavy and patient. Here's the shock line that made me bite my tongue. Richard leaned into the mic and said, sometimes family decisions require cutting off the diseased limb. Diseased limb. About his daughter. That's when the judge's eyebrows moved. I didn't take the bait. I held my breath steady and let the documents speak. The injunction had already frozen the estate. The amendment was airtight. The forensic trail was a roadmap with streetlights. If you're watching and you've ever been told you're too much for asking for the truth, this part is for you. Comment, I hear you. Like so the next person finds this before they sign something in the dark. Share it because somewhere a Caroline is humming while someone gets erased. My closing was simple. This is not about inheritance, I said. It's about authorship. They tried to edit me out and call it peace. I'm here to restore the original text. I handed the judge my grandmother's letter, the lavender-tinged paper, the 4 lines that cut straighter than any lawyer's paragraph. The judge read it, set it down, and looked at Richard, at Bella, at the empty space where Caroline's conscience should have been. Rulings don't arrive with drum rolls. They land like hammers. The amended will stands, the judge said. Full control of the estate remains with Ms. Katie Maddox. Any misuse of funds by Ms. Bella Maddox and Mr. Richard Maddox is referred for further legal action. Ms. Caroline Maddox is permanently removed from any fiduciary authority related to the trust. No cheers, no gasp, just relief so sharp it almost cut. I didn't smile. I didn't cry. I breathed. First full breath in months. Outside, cameras waited like empty mouths. I walked past them. No statement. The truth had already been said where it mattered. Back at the lake house, I unlocked the door, stepped into the quiet my grandmother planted, and opened her leather journal to the page she dog-eared. Truth doesn't scream, it stands. I stood in that room and finally believed I could too. Here's the part nobody tells you. Victory doesn't feel like fireworks. It feels like a lock clicking behind a door you decide won't open again. Not out of spite, out of self-respect. I looked at the water, the trees she loved, and whispered the line that used to hurt me and now heals me. They tried to bury me. Then I added the part I earned. I planted something. If this ending gives you courage, tap like so it finds the next person balancing on a hallway floorboard. Drop a comment. What would you have done? Would you have pressed play? And share this if you're done mistaking control for love. I'm not asking for outrage for clicks. I'm asking for light for anyone walking upstairs to pack their dignity into a bag. This is where their version ends. This is where ours begins. I wish I could tell you victory felt loud. It didn't. It felt like walking into my grandmother's lake house, setting the folder down, and hearing the room breathe with me for the first time. No gloating, no fireworks, just the quiet click of a lock I chose, on a door that once let every hurt walk in. I made tea. I sat in her reading chair. I opened her journal to that line. Truth doesn't scream, it stands. And I let myself stand, without apology. Here's the part that stays with me. The body remembers silence. It remembers the tiny humiliations, the cropped photos, the closed-door meetings where your name gets treated like a problem to solve. Healing was not an announcement. It was a series of choices. Freeze the estate. Press play on the tape. Say no, without raising my voice. and then say nothing at all when nothing more was needed? Am I in the wrong? For choosing the document over the dinner table? For lighting the room with evidence instead of begging to be believed? Maybe some people will call it ruthless. I call it respectful. To the woman who built everything they tried to drain, and to the version of me who kept going when the house went quiet. My lesson? Don't argue where you can prove. Don't wait for fairness from the people invested in your confusion. And don't confuse peace with proximity. Sometimes peace lives on the other side of a boundary you're terrified to draw. If any of this hit home, tell me your take in the comments. Would you have pressed play? Would you have walked into that kitchen? Tap like, so this finds the person who needs one brave example tonight. Share it with the friend second-guessing themselves. And if you're still in the hallway, hand shaking at the door, breathe. The truth doesn't scream, it stands. I think it's time you did too.